Pulp MX Network production.
Welcome to the Troy Lee Designs and Racetech Suspension and Engines Blair Matthes Project.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Troy Lee Designs Racetech Blair Matthes Project. I am Steve Matthes. That is Daniel Blair. We're going to get into what we saw in Dallas, the Triple Crown, look ahead to Daytona, and more today on the show. Thanks for watching and listening. Hey, the best part of this thing is if you want to shop at Troy Lee Designs and you want to get a discount from those guys, email us using the contact form and we'll pass you on a coupon to save, a code to save, I should say, with Troy Lee Designs. Troy Lee Designs, a leader in high-performance action sports gear since 1981. First time Troy was making those visors with ovens and stuff and bending them to fit helmets to now, whether it's motocross or mountain biking, Troy Lee Designs has you covered with the high-quality helmets, apparel, protective gear with a legacy deep-rooted in custom paint and innovation. Troy Lee Designs is the brand trusted by athletes worldwide. TroyLeeDesigns.com to check out the full range of products and use the code that we send you to save with those guys. And Racetech as well. Love the guys at Racetech. Privateer proven since way back in the 1980s. They're doing factory rider stuff. They do moto work for teams on NDAs. They do suspension work, vintage stuff, parts, accessories for suspension, all of that. Get your bike set up for your weight and or speed. Racetech.com. And the best part, again, tell them you listen to Pulp and you can save with those guys. We'll tell you more about them later, but Zool's, Seat Concepts, Firepower, Maxxis, ASV Levers, Decal Works, A-Stars, all on board of this show as well. As I said, I'm Steve Matthes. That's Daniel Blair. What's up, DB?
Ever tell you how good you are at the intros?
No, you have not.
I tell you right now, you're good at intros. I know you've done a lot, so you've got your reps in, you got the hour meter, maxed out, but you rip the intros, dude, like a machine. Just wanted to let you know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I've got a lot of practice. If you think about all the janky hours of podcasting I've done, so I'd have to be good at it. I would hope to God I'm good at it, right?
Yeah, you nail it, though. I'm sure the sponsors are happy, too. Glad to have them on board. And excited to talk about another round of Crazy Cross, I guess. I don't know what you want to call this thing anymore, Steve, but it's madness and insane. And even when you look at the track and you're like, this seems, I think we'll be able. No, it's not. It's just absolute madness. So, let's have some fun and prepare for the next round of Crazy Cross.
Well, I'll tell you what, the sand that they have been bringing in at pretty much every round has really thrown these guys for a loop. There was so many falls in Dallas in practice and in races. The sand were getting people. It was also a big, as it always does, it changes, right? So at some point, the outside's better. At some points, the inside better. And then as we saw in the main twos, that groove on the inside was deep. It was easy, but you had to slow yourself down to get into it. So I know the racers hate it, and I know the goggle guys hate it, but the sand we've got has really affected almost every round.
I like this one too, and I think we talked about this a few weeks back. When done right, it's pretty cool. And yes, they were all dumping it in that first 250 race. Deegs went down. Did Joe
went down?
Yeah, but they all were. It was weird because they were jumping in, expecting they were expecting to land in and go, and it wasn't. But once it got worked in, I liked it because you could charge in, kind of square up and do a different line. And then there was block passes in the next corner. And so I like this one again. I feel bad for the riders. I know they don't like it too much, but if it creates separation and passing opportunities and a fall here or there, I'm fine with it. So sorry, boys, but you're going to get a whole load of it this weekend. And they nailed it in Arlington. It was awesome.
And then you add in the Triple Crown, right? And that's just, it was a wacky night of racing in Dallas. And the dirt used to be the worst on the circuit, Daniel, back in my day. Then we moved into Jerry's world, and the dirt was awesome and epic. Well, a few years ago, they got new dirt. It hasn't been as good since then. And riders were talking about the ruts. Riders were talking about how soft it was. And then at some point from the first sessions to the second qualifying sessions, it went from soft and super ruddy to slippery. And you add in the sand that we just talked about, and guys were having a hell of a time out there. The whoops were treacherous. Neither one of you guys were there, but let me tell you, there was so many close calls in those. And obviously guys like Jordon Smith, actually did eat it. But holy smokes, man, it was a tough track, and you add in those Triple Crowns and you add in that sand, and it really taxed the guys. But let me ask you this, Daniel. Triple Crowns, more of them, or are we good with just how many we have?
I mean, I personally would like more. I like the format, and I don't want it every time too, because I like seeing them tested in the 20 minutes. And I used to be like, when they first came on, I was like, make them all triple crowns. And I think I was in danger of my life. I think people wanted to do bad things to me for saying that. But I could use a few more, but I'm also not like needing it. I think getting that third East West showdown kind of, I guess, for the short term satisfied me. I love those two. But yeah, I could do two more. I think if there was five, I would be okay with that. But I'm not going to freak out like I used to and demand it anymore. But I just like them because I get to see the good guys go at it more often. And don't clip that. That was bad. But you know what I mean? Like, I want to see the best of the best lined up because it brings a different tension. Heats are cool too, but at the same time, I want to see them line up again. And that third 451 with the math was so good. I know it doesn't always work out, but I'm kind of here for a couple more. I'm not going to scream, but yeah, give me two more and I'll never, ever, ever bring it up again. Yeah.
All right. Look, I weighed in on Chase Sexton on the review show and on the Pulpamex show, but Daniel, this is your chance. I don't know, man. What's going on? This is 3 weeks in a row where our guy Chase probably should have went 2-2-1 at the very worst, maybe 2-1-2. 2-1-1, I should say. I mean, yeah, it's go ahead, Daniel.
I'm going to say what I said last week. There's no Jet and Eli. Like, we lost Jet at Glendale, so that there was Jet gone. Eli goes out in practice of the next one, so he doesn't even race that night. So he's had a nice little run here since his Triple Crown win at Glendale with no Jet and Eli. This shouldn't be so complicated. I don't understand. And yes, Cooper Webb's existence makes things complicated because he's just this force of race power, man. He's just so freaking good at racing. But this shouldn't be like this. And I think my belief, it comes down to his mentality, which I think is what makes him strong. He's very, very determined to win. It really, really wants to win. But it comes across a little Ricky Bobby to me, where it's like first or last. And I don't think you need to be that way when you're the best in the class. And he is. He's the fastest. He can get through these guys more times than not. And when he gets out front, he can check out and he can control the pace. When you are the best and you are the fastest on the gate, you got a little insurance to work with every night. And he acts like his back's against the wall every night. And I just don't get it. I think it's a switch on with his mentality. Doesn't know how to switch it off. He's playing checkers and they're playing chess. And it's just, he's going to lose this thing for just ridiculous reasons. And that's all I got to say is I don't know inside his head. He's kind of quiet and reserved, but says some things too. I don't think the podium was like the best thing for him, but God, I don't understand. He should be up 20 points, like very easy. He should be walking this, boring us to death, but maybe he's just entertaining us, Steve. Maybe he just wants us to all have a good time and stick around and pay attention because he could win. He could be winning all these things more than not. And he's not.
Let's bring in our producer in, Kellen Brower here. What's up, Kellen? Thanks for doing this. Thanks for joining us. Now, you do a show, LVK show, with another gentleman that he's not on here, and he's been known to be a big fan of Chase Sexton. Now, I have not gone back and listened or watched. What was Big Lou's take on this? Because I heard after the starting gate last week, he was like, yeah, guys hit gates. What's the big deal? How was Big Lou, Kellen, framing this one?
He actually, I think, was fairly critical of Chase, which I was proud of him because I feel like he was going to be very defensive. We did do like a little bit of good cop, bad cop, and he was more on the good cop side. But he, basically kind of said the same things that we're all saying, which is like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you can't keep giving Cooper Webb these opportunities. Okay. You can't keep giving away wins, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, we're all in the same boat, I think.
Okay, I just didn't want to hear some blasphemy about, it's Webb's fault for cutting down the track builders, the track
lapper.
I don't know.
Lapper. There was a lapper there in the vicinity.
Yeah, I didn't want to know. So it's good to know that our friend Big Lou is still sane and still got his wits about him. Yeah, Daniel, it's amazing. I don't quite know how to cover this anymore, other than this has happened before. He has thrown away multiple races before, and then he has rebounded with dominant form. So I'm guessing that is what he will do again. Although I thought we were all by this. I thought we were past this, being a little older, being a little more settled on our machine. But no, we're not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I hear coming from the press conference after is that, he really just wants to win. And I read into that as he really didn't want to let Cooper get that third one on him. And it's like, who cares? There's nothing really you could do to break Cooper Webb because he'll just rebuild himself somehow within an hour. That's just how he is. He could have a bad heat and then win the main. You can't break the guy. So why even try to break the guy? Just don't break yourself and get the win and get the points and have the red plate and then do your business. So I don't know if it is a Webb thing or if it's an absence of Eli and Jet thing, but whatever it is, like, you got to figure it out. But I will give some credit to Ian Harrison, the post-race show, which was really cool. I really liked that. The format, the boys down there with the suits on, Webb and his daughter, and the Kenny's bike in the back. That is so rad. I love that. But Ian Harrison was on there, and he kind of said it's like really hard to fault a guy that gives it his all every time and goes for it. And I agree. You can't be mad at him for that part, but you got to be like, hey, let's learn how to play with this a little bit more. Let's play the game here a little bit better. So yeah, I don't fault Chase for being the way he is. I think that's what makes him special. But at the same time, he's going to lose this thing because of it if he doesn't knock it off. I mean, straight up, he's got to stop doing this. That one was no answer for that one. Just lay back, dude. Like, lay back and win. Like, if you want to be a winner, just win by not winning that one. That's part of the format. So
well, it is odd because at Glendale, when Tomac was one of the guys for the title, he laid up.
Yes.
He said he didn't care if he won. He knew he had the overall, all the things that, riders say. So the attitude at Glendale at the Triple Crown was very much of like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't really catch him. Now, Tomac was probably on it more than Cooper Webb was on it this week, right? I mean, Chase probably felt better about catching Webb than he did catching Tomac. But the bottom line was the same thing. You had a gap to the leader and you had the win. And in Glendale, you said you didn't care. And this one, you're like, I got to get Coop. So the mentality's changed. The goal changed, and I don't know why. The wrong way.
You would want to break Eli more than you would want to break Webb, who, again, he blows it in the heat race, gets a 6 or goes 6 in the first one, and he can come right back and snap back. So there's not really breaking him. You go and pass Eli that night, that probably does a little something because Eli doesn't get past that often. So to me, yeah, he laid up and took the overall the smart way against the guy who maybe needed to get beat. And then the guy who doesn't need to do that with, he had to for some reason. It's really confusing. And now the hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And now he probably wants to kill it even more, which that might lead to more. He's walking into a bad place if he screws up one more. If he loses Daytona, either at straight up or by his own fault, we're talking 4 in a row that he's going to have a hard time digging out of that mentally. So kind of got to win.
Early Designs and Race Tech. Thank you to Firepower Parts, firepowerparts.com, of course. Loading ramps and tie downs and batteries, oil, all of that stuff at firepowerparts.com. A lot of hard parts that they continue to add to their line throughout the year. Firepowerparts.com for more information. Maxxis Tires as well. Jeremy McGrath helped develop the Maxxis Tires, and Freddie Knorr and Kate Clayson, Bose Flug, Yoder, all doing top 10s and main events for the Maxxis Tires guys. Great mountain bike tires as well at Maxxis, so thank you to those guys. And again, email us using the contact form on Pulp. We'll give you a code to save at Troy Lee Designs, Race Tech as well. And thank you to the folks at Zool's Bags. It's one right behind Daniel. Phoenix Racing, Pastrana, Craig Carnard, and more. Zach Osborne and more. So thank you to the folks at zoolsbagcode.com for more information. Pulp25 code to save off your next order with Zool's, whether it's roller bags, backpacks, whatever it is. Zool's has got you covered. So thank you to those guys. Daniel, make me the case for and against Roczen, Webb, and Sexton winning Daytona this weekend. Give me fours and some negatives.
So for Kenny, the dude is in a good mood. He's happy. He's taking his losses well. He's realistic with them. He's admitting fault not admitting fault, but he's admitting that, hey, they got a little pace on me. I got to get faster. When you're saying all the right things and your mood is positive and he seems to be pretty happy with his surroundings and his bike, that makes Kenny dangerous, and he's always been good at Daytona. So I could see it happening. I could see it aligning. It looks like it's been almost aligning for a while now, and I could see it. The against is that he hasn't won Daytona, and it is one of the tougher ones on the circuit. And I would say his biggest problem is probably Cooper Webb. I'll get to him, but that'd be my against Kenny is Cooper's existence, because Cooper seems to have had the number of him there and has also never won there, but always been close, man. He's so freaking close to getting that one over and over and over. So Kenny's biggest problem is Coop and Chase just being there. But I could see him getting it. Cooper, the ball's rolling. He said it in the press conference. The ball is rolling, and when it's rolling, it's hard to stop. And again, if he has a bad heat, who cares? If he has a bad week this week, who cares? The guy's a gamer when the gate drops in the main, and I feel like he's just been waiting for that Daytona win. And without Eli there and without JB racing, obviously.
Oh, wow.
The only one to ever stop Eli. I just see Cooper as like finally getting the one. But his issue is going to come from Chase, because Chase probably thinks he has to kill these guys by a mile. And if he somehow doesn't screw this one up, he might, because he honestly needs to and has the capability of doing it. But on the flip side for him is he may pull what he's been pulling. So all three, man, this is probably one of the most exciting Daytonas for me, just because there is no repeat winner. And again, Eli is so freaking good there, and Jet is always good. So I don't know. I mean, I know we're going to do a little put them in order later, but I would go, Chase is going to hate this, but I'd go Coop, Chase, Kenny as far as my personal favorites for the three. What about you?
Well, the positive for Coop is he's a dog, and it's going to be tough and rough, and he will shine. The negative is his raw speed and creativity, which you need at Daytona. You got to hop little bumps and jumps and berms, and you got to really tap your rear wheel here and there. His creativity is probably on the lower end of the scale. Chase's creativity and speed are the positives to me. His starts are positive. I think they've been, for the most part, pretty good. A little hit and miss. The negative is that it's Chase Sexton, and he could throw it away at any time. And Kenny, the positive is the same thing as Chase: speed, his opening laps, his creativity, all of that. All three guys, I think, have the positive of like they really want to win fucking Daytona. That's the positive. And the negative for Kenny, I think, if you look at that third main, where he was in position with the overall and got passed by three guys without making a mistake, the negative to me would be fitness in a longer, rougher Daytona to me. But that's, to me, off the top of my head, those three guys, positives and negatives to
What's your order, though?
them. What?
What's your order? For favorite?
Sexton, Webb, Roxon. Okay. Yeah, I think Chase gets it done. I don't think this mistake gets in his head or throws him for a loop or anything else. He's Chase Sexton. So he's nothing he hasn't done before, right? Also, Daniel, here on the Blair Matthes project, Barsha Anderson, fantastic. Great to see those racing. They're very predictable as well. Barsha Anderson, Mookie, and AP are all up contracts. And I don't know. I have no knowledge of this one way or another, but I can't see the KTM group going forward with a gas guy and a Husqvarna guy going forward. I feel like they're going to have to make a choice. They're going to fold one of those teams over. Now, we know RJ's got a deal, or he's telling people he's got a deal. So, but he can also, if they want to fold Husqvarna, he could just move to a gas. That's no big deal. But give me the rankings, Daniel, on those four guys. If you had to sign them, if the budget was all the same, if they were all just $550K base salary, and all of that, give me the rankings on, who would you sign? Malcolm, Barsha, Anderson, AP.
You're gonna do this too, though, right? Because I don't want to be the only one getting beat up in the pits on Saturday. So you're gonna put your four in order too?
Oh, speaking of that, a little birdie told me some race day live maybe for Daniel Blair.
Which birdie? Which birdie?
I have many sources in many places, sir.
Really? Maybe making an appearance on RD Hell this weekend.
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
Well,
we'll see.
I look forward to that, and I'm sure Kellen will be very bitter and angry.
If security lets me in, then I'll get up there somehow. But there's a slight possibility that that's going to happen. And but yeah, so if I'm in the pits, I just don't want to get beat up by one of these four. I got to put someone fourth.
Yeah.
So are you going to pick your four too?
Sure, but you first. Okay.
So I'm going to say something kind of harsh first, which I don't think it's harsh. Well, it's going to come across harsh, but it's just the reality. But I don't see any of them beating Jet, beating Chase, beating Hunter, beating Eli or Coop in a championship run. So I'm not signing any of them as a champion contender. I'm hoping for a wild night and a race win. That's what I would be hoping for. So for me, I'm looking at it from more angles than just winning. And that's why my order, which again, all four are really close. It's not like the fourth place guy is way off. It's so flip a coin ish. But for me, I probably go AP first due to his age, due to the likability, the fans, his easy to get along with. I just think that he checks every box that you would ever want in a guy that's maybe not a championship guy. So he's my number one. This is where it got really hard, but I probably would go Malcolm too for the similar reasons. I think Malcolm is just easy to work with. He's likable, and he's marketable, and he checks every box for me. Jason and Justin to me are the more appealing ones as far as rate. Now Barsha's been whatever this year, but he still to me can just snap and go on a 5-race run where he's like on the podium every night. He's done that before. So for competitive reasons, I probably want those two. But due to what happened even this weekend and just the, I guess the inability to just not things, not things, I have to go them below the other two by just a little bit. And I would probably go Jason and then Bam fourth. Again, all tight, but yeah, AP, Malcolm, Jason, Justin, 1 through 4.
Okay, fair enough. We'll ask Kellen too after this to rank them. But I would go. Anderson's got the best results indoors and even outdoors
Yes.
of the group, but he's also same age, I believe, as Barsha and Malcolm. He may be 1 year younger, but he's right around there. But AP
they're the
is
same.
okay. So AP's 29. He's the youngest, and also I'm with you. None of the four are going to beat the top dogs in a title fight. They're going to get a win here or there, and so now you're looking at the secondary things you hire riders for. Popularity, sell motorcycles, be cool, make your brand cool, and combined with being the youngest, I would go with AP as well. DB, but I expect AP to fully re-sign with KTM, by the way. But I would go with Aaron Plessinger.
Yeah, depending on what happens there too, they love him. Like they absolutely love him. When he walks by, they smile. Like the bosses smile. He's not many have that effect. So yeah, I think it's an easy one for number one. But now, where do you go?
Now I would go Anderson because now I'm talking results, and I'm talking about leading races and leading laps, and I go Jason Anderson. And I do wonder if he stays at Cowie. Triumph is going to be there, right? Ducati's going to be there. We'll have some spots open, but I go Anderson 2. I probably go Malcolm 3 and Barsha 4 because I feel like Barsha's although he's a good dude, he probably gives you the most reasons to pop Tums if you're a team manager. So that will put him number 4 for me in that list of guys to hire. But again, and we're playing this game as if everyone's getting the same base salary, and they're not, and that comes into effect as well, right? So
yeah, I mean it's so good though because they are 4 very close. They're in that next tier of guy that you would want that can pop off on a night. I mean, AP just got one last year. Malcolm got one. Jason, I feel like he's going to get one this year. And then Bam, this year's been so flat for some reason, but he is a guy who always digs out of these little valleys that he's in and then gets good again.
Yep.
So, and he is likable too, even though he's crazy and erratic kind of guy. They all love him in the pits. Like everyone loves him. So it's really hard. When you actually told me we were going to talk about this, I was like, that is a really good one because I think you could go any number of different ways with that. And you're probably right. So it's good topic.
Kellen, what's your list? What's your order?
I would like to put AP at the top for all the reasons you mentioned, Steve, but I feel like recency bias is twisting me a little bit here because I just don't feel like I've seen any version of AP this year that has shown me like, well, he's right around the corner from being old AP again. And I know that he's been sick and he's been dealing with bike issues and all those things, but I think I would probably put Anderson at the top of the list because of just he's been so stable and consistent really since he's got on the Cowie. Like I don't feel like we've had these weird ebbs and flows types of years out of Jason that we used to have in the past. So I would probably go Anderson, then AP, then Malcolm, then Barsha probably. I think I would still put Barsha at the bottom of the list.
When you say ebbs and flows, Kellen, he just went like 17-2. The 2 triple crown races.
But
I
mean,
know what you're saying.
I feel like in the past it would be like, why is Anderson in 7th? And then the next year he's winning races consistently. But I feel like we've leveled out to, he's just like a 4th to 5th place guy every week.
Right,
You
right.
trust he's going to be in it, is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
Hombre's never going to not be up there in it, scrapping and scraping. But I know what you're saying. That's, of course, the 17, Steve. What did that come from? He was wrestling with Bam in the middle of the track. It's like,
Yeah.
And then, hey, did you notice he gets the written warning and then he crushes the next one? Every time, go back in history, every time he gets in trouble, he kills the next one, like right out of the gate. He's a big rebounder. So if Cowie ever wants to get the best out of him, just write him up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they probably have written him up many times in a sense. All right, Haiden Deegan, he does what we've all been waiting to do. And look, 1-1-2, takes the points lead. Obviously, he got some help. Beaumare's shoulder held him back. Jordon Smith KO'd himself, unfortunately. So we got a little bit of help, but the way he rode was great. The way he sliced through the pack was great. He even fell in the first main and still ended up winning the damn thing. He did make a switch from from Christian Craig to Gareth Swanepoel as far as training and all of that. Christian was really working with him, bike stuff, training stuff. They were in California together to start in December and all of that. And apparently Bobby Reagan decided to make a change on that and go back with Swanepoel. And I don't think that's the reason the kid rode so good. It's not like he's just going to, that happened like a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago, but probably something there, Daniel.
Yeah, and you might be getting the best of him. So I'm going to give credit for where this idea came from. I'm not going to take it as my own, but Matt Burkeen actually shared this idea with me, and I'm going to take it one step further. But he thinks that maybe what happened in this kind of chain of events might make Haiden the most dangerous he's ever been. Because here's what I think what was happening. I think Christian was kind of brought in to add some finesse, add some technique, clean some things up. We know Christian is like a phenomenal Supercross rider. Why? Because he's so perfect on the bike and he does everything like butter and BMX. And Haiden is a pit bull and he just bounces off of things. So you go to Christian and during the week, you're trying to just keep this kid clean and tightened up. And then you go on the weekends and he was doing a lot of chirping. So it was almost like this like finesse during the week and then kind of mouthy pit bull thing on the weekend. Now, all of a sudden, he's back with the boys. It's intensity. He's kind of being himself again, and he's being like more, challenged during the week. And then he goes on the weekend, doesn't say anything, and he was phenomenal. It was like the best version of him I've maybe ever seen. He came from way back. Did he come from last in one of them? Like round the first corner and almost last? But
no, I don't think he was last, but yeah,
way
close.
back there. Yeah. So what if, and of course this is going to sting because January was a wash for him, but what if Christian played a role in some of the cleanup and really did add some of the riding technique, give him a couple attachments to the way he does things. And now you kind of unleash it back again with the boys. You may see a even better version of him because he's maybe cleaned it up a bit and now the intensity's back. So I don't know. I would hate to give advice to them and they don't probably need it. They're just fine. But maybe a little bit of both is the magic ticket because I think you can get a lot out of Christian Craig skill wise, finesse wise, but maybe his demeanor and style and the relationship being kind of like a big brother or uncle or what, I don't know what he is, but maybe that didn't fit. But I think there's some benefits that came out of his riding. And then you put him back in the intense mode and you kind of unleash him. And we may have seen the best version of him. So again, it wasn't my original idea, but I'll take it there that I think those puzzle pieces could possibly add up to being the most dangerous version of him. And if that's the case, they're all in big trouble because he's supposed to be winning these. It is his time. I know he's young, whatever, but it's his time. It's year 3. And he was phenomenal, like mind-blowing phenomenal. So that's a theory, but I don't know what do you think? You know Christian really well. You're at the races, so you can I guess feel the tone and the trucking around. Like, I mean, what do you think about this big switch?
I think it's much ado about nothing. Lots of riders switch coaches / trainers and whatever works for you, right? I don't. He trained with Swanepoel before, and it wasn't like he was like a great Supercross rider, and then went to Christian and got worse. And then now he's back and got better. Like he's always just a very good Supercross rider and a great outdoor rider. And so I think you're right. I mean, Christian's probably number one edict was help him through the whoops. Help him through the whoops. That's where Christian's really good at. That's where Haiden wasn't good at. Hayden's been better in the whoops this year. Even before he got back with Swanepoel, he won Anaheim too with those back-to-back whoop sections. So he's clearly good enough in that sense. Was he the best guy in the whoops? No, but he certainly seemed like he was improved. His stature will just always sort of hold him back a little bit in whoops, I feel, compared to, say, Christian Craig or Benny Bloss or whoever. But yeah, man, I mean, I think it's a little bit of much ado about nothing. The kid rode great, and he was the best guy there. Now, will Swanepoel unleash him like you think or Matt thinks? I'm not ready to say that for sure, but I mean, this weekend it was all Deegs, and he was great. And honestly, he still made that mistake, which I've been talking about a lot, how he makes mistakes. But this weekend he was able to break through for it. And with Jordan being out, I would imagine, and losing all these points, and Julian, even though he was riding great, even Ian Harrison told me after the race, like, he's not good in ruts, he's not good in softer dirt. He's a West Coast kid, grew up in Havasu, all of that. So, I mean, the door is there for Haiden to really walk away with this thing now.
Yeah, and then I do think in the shortest of short terms, Cole is probably his biggest threat, but Cole still has some things to learn and go through. His first race of the 3 wasn't his best. He was a little flat in that one, and then kind of got it going again. I think he got really screwed in that second one. I've talked on here, Steve, about, you got to own your own mistakes, but sometimes you just get ran into. And Thompson, your buddy Cole Thompson, I know he's a good friend of yours. He blasted Cole pretty hard in that one, and then came back, whatever. Then he kind of whatever. But that third one was a pretty big bounce back for Cole to get that win, and not only winning it, but the way he made the pass into the lead and the whoops, because he went through the whoops one lap and almost died. And I was like, bro, settle down. And then the next lap, he just switched to the other side and went through a Mach 7. For a 17-year-old rookie to just go through the whoops like that into the lead and then win that thing, throw the big nasty whip, he is so far ahead of his age and his time. And so I do think he probably is the biggest threat to Haiden in points, or at least every week. And he's back now in points a little bit. So yeah, he's got this thing in a really good position, but it's going to be those 3 showdowns. I mean, that's where it comes down to. That's where things get crazy, because the other guys are going to be wild, chasing their own points. So, and Indy's one, right? That's the next one.
Indy's Triple Crown. Yeah.
So we're going to find out really quickly if the Haiden from Arlington is the same guy in Indy, and he's going to have to do it against a way deeper field. Cole will get his first big challenge against all the East Coast guys and a bunch of vets like RJ and Max. I mean, that's a whole different group. So, I mean, God, the series is just delivering, like Daytona and then Indy. We got 2 really good weeks of racing, but that showdown, I think, is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, considering we lost to 2 marquee racers in the series, 2 of the marquee racers, not the only marquee guys, but 2 marquee racers out with injury. This thing has delivered, thanks to Chase's bit of mistakes there. But whatever, the series has delivered so far, and Daytona is going to be a banger, and then the showdown is going to be a banger. And you're right, Dan. You'll go into that off week with a lot of questions. By the way, shout out Star Racing. All 3 red plates right now. Max Anstey, Deegs, and Cooper Webb. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool for those guys at Yamaha and Star Racing, obviously. And Coty Schock, 2nd overall. He was about 50 feet from being 4th overall after Mosman got him in the whoops, but then he stuck to the inside and took it, grabbed it back. Coty did. But regardless, 2nd place for Coty Schock on Club MX. It's awesome.
Great, man. He's an inspiration. I know that we get caught up in the pro thing because he's a pro and it's a pro team. But man, for all you amateur families, all you kids out there, like, this guy is an inspiration like you wouldn't believe. It's got a lot of the McAdoo type story to it, where he was never meant to be this. He was just kind of a guy out there, and then, had a good summer. And I mean, the story is insane. And for him to get 2nd in an overall, like, again, for the team, it's great, but they've done that. They did that with Marchbanks, and they've done great things with Phil. But again, that roster got depleted of star power. The one guy hanging around was Coty Schock, of all people, and he just got them a 2nd. So I just look at him like an inspiration and someone for people that maybe feel like I don't know if I'm going to have I don't know if I got it. Well, you know what? If you hang in there long enough, you believe in yourself, you get with the right people, and you execute, you can do it. And he's a great story, and he needs to be celebrated in every way he can, because I think that story, again, inspires more than just the fans. It's the future generations of racer. I mean, look at this guy and just believe, because he did, and he's there. And so, yeah, Steve, I'm proud of him, proud of the team. And I hope people understand how crazy and rad this is for him to do that.
We brought this up on the show last night with Wygant. I think Weston Pike had a bigger gain of improvement than Coty Schock, but Cody's in that same category of guys that you're like, well, they're just going to be privateer main event fillers. And Weston certainly was much more than that, and Cody's much more than that as well. Although, like, Cody on the FXR Honda team was a top 10 450 motocross guy, so it's not like he's coming out of nowhere. But his Supercross skills weren't as strong, and as he's mentioned in the press conference, he's from Delaware. He didn't grow up with means or anything like that. So, Daniel, you make a very good point about being a bit of inspiration. Like Weston Pike, I think people can draw on that. Jordon Smith, everyone likes Jordon Smith in the pits, and God damn it, Daniel.
So, I mean, honestly, not lying. I mean, as a fan, because I'm a fan on Saturday nights, I lost my mood I was in a good mood. It was I love the pre-shows I get excited. It naturally does that to me. It's a triple crown. And then for that to happen after it was a great first start of that race too, the battling it was such a rad battle. And then he's in the lead and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be good. And then he's holding Deegs off. He's fighting him off. And then for it to end like that, it was a serious mood killer. Like it actually dented my mood for about an hour. And and it probably comes down to him being him too, because he is one of the better people in the pits, better guys who's been through a lot. And it was bum. Our whole house got quiet for a little bit. He's had some big ones in his day. Obviously, he's had some big crashes, but I didn't like the way that one landed. He skipped across that whoop on his back like a rock, man. It was terrible looking to me. I could tell. Couldn't have happened to a better person. And again, it dents the series a little bit because he was in there. He was making things hard for the kids, and that's just sucks.
I would have loved to have seen if Jordon would have had the Alpine Stars Tech Air chest protection on, like Austin's been wearing. It's a little heavy. It's a little hot, is what the complaints are from some of these top guys. Faulkner's chosen to wear it there, but you look at what he did with his chest and his lungs and ribs, and you can't help but think that Chest Pro would have maybe saved him. And I'm interested to see, if more guys go to that technology once they get it working a little bit better, once they figure it out. But that was a prime example of having those airbag systems inflate in the Tech Air, maybe saving Jordon Smith.
I mean, that's the exact example of where it would have helped,
yes.
Right? Landing on your back. I mean, he probably lands, it shoots him, and he probably bounces over the next whoop. You know what I mean? Like he probably jumps one or two. But you're right, like that's designed for that. And you're right. It's in development and it's being tested. And the hot thing though, I'll tell you what, like my son, we rode today and it was warmer today than it's been normal. And he was complaining about his under chest protector, and it's not one of those. And it was the same thing. He just felt like it was making him hot, and he wasn't ready for that heat. So it might be one of those things where it feels hot, but then once you can get used to anything. I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
So to me, it's one of those things of, maybe it's hot, but that's because you're not used to it now. Like I bet Austin doesn't feel that as much now as he did in day 1 and 2. So maybe it's one of those things that people just need to adapt to over time, because again, a regular undie chest pro, whatever, today in 68-degree weather, my son was freaking because it was the first warm day and he said it was making him hot, and that wasn't one of those. So I think he's just getting used to it.
Speaking of Alpine Stars, the Tech Air will be available, I think, the fall of this year for production for people to buy. And look into the safety part of it. Alpine Stars protects. And as well as that, they got the A1 chest protector. They got knee cups, elbow guards, their neck brace, of course, Alpine Star protection. You know them for their boots and maybe for their gear, but they make a lot of protection parts as well. And it's some of the greatest stuff out there. I wear the under protector, the Plasma A1. I wear that underneath my chest protector, or underneath my jersey, I should say. Deegs put an under protector over his jersey this weekend. That's Deegs being Deegs, but I wear mine under. Alpine Stars protects, and also Seat Concepts. They've been saving assets since 2009. It's a go-to brand for all of things seat. Pulp 25, Seat Concepts, Factory Beta, Phoenix Racing, Ampro Yamaha, SLR Honda, and more. And they got a proprietary foam system as well. Handcrafted seat shapes are made in the USA. And Pulp 25 to save it, Seat Concepts, Zool's Bag, Maxxis Tires, Firepower, ASV Levers, Decal Works, and also Troy Lee Designs and Race Tech. Send us an email using the contact form on Pulp for Troy Lee. We'll give you a code to save. Thank you to those guys. All right, we got our fantasy picks coming up, but I got a couple things for each one of you, Keller and Daniel. Daniel, I'll start with you. Any problems or issues with Lars Lindstrom's Instagram call out to you, Daniel. Lars is a great guy. I thought it was gold. I told him that this weekend. And any issues with that, Daniel?
None. It was gold. I called him and I told him, well done, checkmate. And I've learned a couple of valuable lessons through this entire thing. I've learned that I will never, there's a guy out there whose name rhymes with rinse. I will never speak about him again because every time I even bring him up as a joke or in any way, it blows up in my face. So I'm done with that. I actually called my brother, who's also rhymes with rinse. And we're going to go by his middle name from now on. I'm going to start calling him Michael. It's his middle name. So, you know, like AC and Cooper Webb, you know how they go by their middle names?
Yep.
I got a brother named Michael now because I will never say that name again.
So that name has bit you on the track and off the track? On,
off, all over. I mean, even thinking about it right now, probably something's going to hit my house. I'm done with it. And yes, Lars, you checkmate as clean as could be. And I called him and we laughed about it. And he did very well.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely. And also too, so last night on the Pulp Show, Swap Moto Live's Chase Curtis called in. He got hit by Henry Miller, broke his lower leg. He had some hardware in there. It sounds like he's going to be in Texas for a few weeks. He had a surgery. As far as the best case scenario for having a surgery after a motorcycle hits you, it sounds like he got that best case scenario. Chase Curtis did. But he got hit. And Kellen, you took a job with Swap Moto. You want to go to all the races or most of the races. And I'm wondering, Kellen, is there any footage that will surface of you and Henry Miller shaking hands, maybe a briefcase being passed from one to another? Or are you totally clear on this, Kellen?
Steve, no, there's not going to be any footage of that. And I feel awful for Chase, honestly, because it's funny when I interviewed with Swap, the one thing I told them was I'll do anything. Like I will go to the ends of the earth to get interviews and stuff for you guys, but you will not catch me on the floor at a Supercross race. Like I don't want anything to do with being trackside up against a wall, anything like that. And I think at the time we're kind of like, really? You don't want to go down there and shoot photos? And then I texted Chase and he's like, now I understand. So yeah, feel terrible for him. Super bummer deal, and hopefully he heals up from this. But God, that was brutal.
Hey, I'm not Sue happy. Let's be clear. I'm not like a Sue guy, but he should look into a lawyer and just take a look at the designer and inventor of the net because the net did no good whatsoever. So if I'm him, I'm lawyering up and I'm going after the creator and innovator of the nets because that's what cost him.
That's Kevin Windham. I'll get you that number, and I'll get you that K-Dub guy. Look, he called in last night and he made that joke. He's wished my nets were one panel more. And honestly, Keller, I have to confess here. There's another gentleman that you know well. He's from the UK, and he was up in the press box with me this weekend. And I don't think it was after Chase got hit. I think it was before that him and we may or may not have been laughing at you saying, I am not going down on the floor. You can't pay me enough money to go down and shoot photos on the floor. And I believe, like everything, we were laughing about this stance that you took because it is a little odd because, again, a lot of people go down on the floor and a lot of people have no problems with it and all of this. And then, lo and behold, me and that UK gentleman were, sort of looking at each other going, well, maybe Big Keller had a point there.
I've just I go down there for press day because I do a little bit of filming on press day and I'll stand there for 5-10 minutes and get some shots. But even that time I've had close calls and I've seen people get clipped and hit. And like just last year, Tom Vial absolutely destroyed someone in practice at Nashville. And Rich Shepard, who used to work for Align Media, he also got cleaned out. So it's just like I value my health a little bit too much for putting myself in that risky situation every weekend.
Yeah. No, it is. And Chase said last night, you're looking the other way. The berms are high. You don't really see a guy coming until he just pops over a berm or whatever, right? So, shout out to Chase Curtis. If you want to help him with his it's on Don Maeda's Instagram. It's out floating in the, I'm sure in the in the universe. I gave him I gave him a few bucks today, and he's got insurance, so that part's good. But it's always stuff out of pocket. He said on the show last night that as his ankle was facing the other way and his leg was bent, they were like, "We need $3,000, sir. Do you have a card on you?"
What?
Seriously?
Yes. Before they did anything.
Listen, sir, before we look at this, I know it looks like it's going backwards here, but before we give you our evaluation, we're going to need some cash.
There's so many things to say about the American medical care system, and that pretty much says it all. And he had to hand over a credit card, even though he's got insurance. They were still out of pocket, and they wanted it right then and there, man. So yeah, it is a tough blow for Chase Curtis. So, and yeah, Kellen looks like. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kellen, but you're going to some more races, huh?
I have not heard anything. I was in for the next 3 anyway. I'm going to Daytona, Indy, Birmingham, regardless.
Oh, so you didn't get any extra added?
Not that I've heard of. I think Don's still trying to wrap his head around how all this is going to work, especially with Chase still being in Texas for a while. But yeah, we'll come up with a plan. Okay,
all right, fair enough. Because really, the big winner, Kellen Brower, out of all of this. I mean, Swap Moto Live and pulp stuff and all of it. All right. Hey, listen, we got a little bit of abbreviated edition today on the Blair Matthes project. But Daniel, we do want to go through our fantasy picks and then also ASV and Decal Works, Daniel.
Yes.
Our buddies.
That's right. I'm even wearing the ASV shirt as you can see on the tube of you. ASV Inventions has been innovating American-made motocross components and tools since the year 2000. They are pioneers in innovation, starting with the original folding, unbreakable levers. ASV makes parts to fit more years, makes, and models than any other brand, and backs every high-quality part with the industry's best customer service and warranty, and that's a fact. For more information, visit asvinventions.com. Use the code PulpMX.
All caps
for 20 off. And then from beginners to seasoned vets, race teams, project builds, and magazine tests, Decal Works' mission is to cater to those who love to ride, upholding the true definition of quality, service, and knowledge. Visit decalmx.com and use the promo code PulpMX25 to get 20% off your custom graphics.
Daniel, any thoughts on the broadcast you'd like to share this weekend?
The big one for me, and I may have said this early in the year, but I know it's probably more expensive, but the pre-show and post-show, well, they always do the post-show, right? That becomes the SMX Insider post-show, right? Isn't that kind of built in?
Not like what they did this
was
weekend.
Sick. They need to do that more often. And obviously JB and AC are doing great on Race Day Live. They're there, like putting them down there in the suits. That was so sick. It made the sport feel bigger to me. But the pre-show too, we're waiting around. I know we're getting into the time of the year when we're not gonna be waiting around as much. We might be rushing back. We might be out, whatever. But I think it makes the whole thing better. I feel sometimes we rush in from the lead in, right? And it's like, get this in, drop the gate. And we don't really get to lay things out. And I believe you need to. So I would just say as a compliment, it was a great pre-show. And I wish they would do that all the time. And I wish it was possible because it does make the entire thing feel better to me. And that, again, that's coming from me on the fan side. I'm sure on the working side, it's way harder for everybody, including the guys having to do it. Weege, I know, has way more responsibilities with the extra half hour. But from the fan side, everyone I've talked to says they love that. And so more of it.
Yeah, there's just no way. From what I understand, it's really just cost. Who pays for it? Does Peacock pay for it? Does Feld pay for it? Who pays for this pre and post show? Cameramen and graphics people and extra hours and all of that stuff. Yeah, but there's no reason why it can't be there. It's a streamer. We're not booking time between Murder, She Wrote. Very timely reference, by the way. Murder, She Wrote and 60 Minutes. We're not booking time. It's a streamer. We can just do it. Just go ahead.
And you have the talent on hand. That's the thing, is that you're not having to bring anyone in. And let me give JB a shout out too. He's a buddy of mine and I talked to him a lot, and he had some high pressure on him because he was the host of the pre-show. He was the guy, and he hasn't been that position before. Weege did it before, or Katie did it before. Yeah, so this was his first go as the guy, and I knew he had the pressure coming in, and he rolled out with a really long intro, laid out a bunch of things, thought his pace was cool, and I knew that was high pressure for him to be the lead, and he nailed it. And to me, that made what?
Well, it's just like last night on the Pulp Show. Coty Schock talked about a conversation he had with Justin Brayton. Justin Hill talked about a conversation he had with Justin Brayton. We got Justin Brayton helping Justin Cooper in the whoops. It's all coming up Brayton these days. He's an awesome guy. He's a class act. I'm just sick of hearing about him.
All right, well then he sucks. I'm done with him too. Then Steve, let's start a protest and get rid of Jay. No, he's just doing a great job. And again, he's
down with Brayton,
doing things that I had to do, which was pivot out of being a racer brain and be a non-racer brain, and that's really hard and it's really challenging. And he's doing it in short term, and I'm impressed. And I was nervous for him on the pre-show. I was like, dude, oh, and then it was great. And then AC looking good in his olive suit, which I. Think back to that very first Charlotte show, which was just the most disaster look of all time. I mean, good God. And now suit game's on lock. So that and the entire idea of pumping us up for a half hour and giving us some things to talk about before they just go boom, 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 gate drop. So figured out. Right. It's good.
Kellen, what about you? You weren't there this weekend. You're going to your first ever Daytona. I can't wait to hear what you think of that place. But Kellen, what's your thoughts on the broadcast?
Well, first, speaking of Daytona, I'll be sure to clip you saying "down with Justin Brayton" with a thumbs down and send that to him so that you can make sure.
It's too much positivity towards JB. We got to keep him humble.
I like it. He needs to get hit on something. Let's find something. Get the guy
Yeah, he sucked outdoors.
Yeah, you know what? Other than one time at Steel City, sucked outdoors.
Yeah.
I will say about the show though this weekend, yeah, I do like when they do this like more professional get up look and everything. I was kind of in and out of watching it because we were all together with our family this weekend on vacation, but I was a little bit kind of taken aback by one thing. I think that they just before the national anthem started, like went to a commercial break, and I was kind of like, that. Other sports would like sit through and watch the anthem and see it, and it would be like kind of a thing, which I know, Steve, you and the anthem, but I was a little bit taken aback by that.
I had someone too, Steve. A friend of mine said they were really disappointed with the non-national anthem, and I know what happened last time. You're going to have Cole Thompson down there fighting with Barsha, fist fighting 9 seconds after, whatever. But Steve, we needed to hear the anthem. We needed the anthem.
Well, I mean, it was a military appreciation race, so you're right on the odd choice. Now, I just zoomed through that when I was rewatching the race. Like I didn't even notice this. I just watched the races whenever I go back to rewatch. I don't even watch heats when I'm recapping a race that I'm already at. I just go to mains. Anyways, and then we had a guy who said that they used Russian jets and Russian guns and everything for the stock opening of the military race. I can't verify this, but he's upset. And then he said it was taken out of the replay. I don't know. Listen to the Pulp Show on that. I can't. Okay. I'm not a very arms expert, but it's just stock footage or whatever. So, yeah. All right. Well, yeah. And listen, the anthem thing, I don't want to get into. We don't have enough time, but we got to make it special. And by doing that, playing it at very select things, that's how we make it special again. Okay. Fantasy. You've heard of Nostradamus. This is Matthes. Phenomenal. This is incredible. I don't know what to say. I'm on a complete heater right now, despite the fraud Kellen Brower trying to trip me up. We made our picks last week. Aaron Plessinger, I said would get 7th, and he got 7th. Joe Schmoda, I said 4th, and he got 4th. Jet Reynolds, I said 11th, he got 10th for a 3-rider score of +1. And last week I was awesome as well on this. And then Daniel, you were good too. You were very good. Barsha, you said 7th, he got 6th. You said Marchbanks would get 7th, he got 5th. And Albright, you said 14th, and TJ had some bad luck to get 19th. So you were off by 8. So I've widened my lead to 26 points now. But honestly, truly, +1 out of 3 riders.
And I was going to light TJ up this week, but he DM'd me and apologized pre-show for his failures. So I'm going to leave that alone. But you did really good. And I mean, it's one of those ones where like I'm proud of what I did, and I would love to talk smack to you, but I can't. You're doing a great job. So I don't know what to say other than Kellen. You keep calling him a fraud. It's like a front for like the opposite.
He's trying to trip me up, but he's not able to. I'm just too smart. I'm moving. I'm shaking. I'm baking, and he can't catch up.
I guess, but I don't know. Kellen, let's get this thing closer, man. Let's do better. You gave me TJ Albright. That's not the easiest pick when I'm already down 20. So you better have some.
I had Jet Reynolds, who's been all over the map. Jet's got literally last in a race and 10th, and So
true, but he got right around where he is, and then you got that one right. Good job, congrats. But I'm not done. We're early. It's championship starts at Daytona.
Yeah, that's what I hear. All right.
Well, to be honest, I gave you TJ Albright because I went to Glendale, the Triple Crown before this, and he had very consistent. I think he went like 14, 12, 12 or something like that. So I was like, well, this just should be consistent. But anyway, all right, let's get into the picks this week. I'm trying to go a little bit top heavy with Daytona and get you guys to like more or less pick some podium spots here. So let's lead off with you this week, DB. Where does Chase Sexton finish at Daytona?
2.
All right, second. I mean, at least there's wiggle room there. He could win, and it'll only be 1 point difference. A third, and it'll only be 1 point difference.
He should win, but he may blow it and get third. So we'll go 2.
Okay. How about Justin Cooper?
Oh, okay. 4.
Fourth for Jay Coop, and then into the 250 class, Tom Vial.
3.
3. All right. So there we go. Some top heavy picks.
I think I would have done the exact same. I really do. I think I would have said the exact same spots because, I don't know, Daniel, if you try to game this game or not by, splitting the difference, but I think that was what I would have said.
That's what I did this time. I'm going to get back in this from consistency, and I went right about I went where I'd be comfortable on either side of it, on both, or all 3 of them. So yeah.
All right, over to you, Steve. Cooper Webb, Daytona. Does he get it this year?
No, I said off the top, I think Chase wins, so I'm going to go 2 for Cooper.
All right, a pair of second place finishes. Last time we were in Florida, this gentleman won. Malcolm Stewart at Daytona this week.
6.
6 for Mookie. And then down to the 250 class, Mr. RJ Hampshire.
Oh, ceiling and the floor is very high for this guy. I could see him winning, but Anstey's been really good to start this year. Kitchen is back. Maybe RJ's wrist is a bit sore still at Daytona, rough track. 3.
All right, third. I like it, gentlemen. I like it a lot.
All right, there we go.
Can we go showdown next week at Indy? And can you get like in the 10 to 15 range and get weird? Because I'm going to need some big swings here. And we both come out of this one probably solid. Can we go heavy swing at the East-West Showdown? Give me some out of the top 10 guys, all of them, Kellen, please. I need to get back in this thing.
I had planned that as an idea, which is why this week I wanted to go
shocking.
Top heavy.
I'm leading by 26, and the fraud and DB are conspiring against me. Okay, cool, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called a handicap. It's the same way that our fantasy football waiver order works that you just don't seem to understand. It's same theory. You got to get the guy behind to catch back up. That's how you make it fun, Steve.
No, but that's literally not how it works, Daniel. That's my biggest gripe. My biggest gripe is that it doesn't, if you're a shitty team, you don't get first pick. It just goes on whether you've got other picks before.
Wait, so we're on the same side on that argument?
Yeah.
I've just ignored you for 2 years. I literally have not paid. I lost interest 2 years ago. And so wait, we're on the same side.
Yeah, we are. That's not how the system works in fantasy football, and it's a joke. It needs to work like that. It needs to keep the guys who are shittier, having shittier seasons, most of it not due to their fault, due to injuries. Yeah. Let them have a crack at the best players.
Dude, I apologize. I've literally have not had your back for 2 years because I just thought you were on the other side and I just muted it.
Unbelievable. Well, now
we'll get him this year, Steve. We'll get it right. We'll get Paul to up.
Not to bring this into inside baseball, but Mertz is in that fantasy football group text. So can we still do that? I don't know if we can still do that. I don't know what Mertz's mental health is like, or if he's angry. Apparently, he's angry at Racer X, which means me. So I don't know if I can be in there. I don't know. We'll have to. We got a lot of.
We're going to go through. We might have to Dan Snyder him.
We might. I don't know. Poor Mertz. I don't know how this works.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, listen, thank you to Troy Lee Designs and Race Tech as well. All our other partners. Use the codes to save. You email us using the contact form to get a code to save with the folks at TLD. Kellen Brower, thank you. Appreciate it. I cannot wait for next week's show, Kellen, when you talk about how Daytona was, you were getting yelled at by yellow jacket security guards and you couldn't stand anywhere and you couldn't see anything. And I can't wait to get this from you because I'll be up in Frank's suite.
Yeah, whatever, Mr. Elitist.
Yeah, too good for Daytona.
And Daniel, you'll be there, so maybe we'll run into each other. But also, hey, thanks to Daniel, thanks to Kellen, thank you people for watching and listening. Appreciate it. And until next week, peace out.